Last October, Sigma announced their new 10 to 18 millimeter lens for the L mount, the Sony E mount for APS-C, and the Fujifilm X mount. And recently I got the 10 to 18 lens along with my a6700 so that I can use it for our camera setup for traveling with the family. So for today, I'm going to test out this lens for my use case or the situations that I would be using my camera setup for. But before we continue, if you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Nico. I create videos about camera gear, audio equipment, and desk setups. I'm not a professional photographer or videographer. I used to edit professionally at a podcast company, but all the opinions here on this channel is from the perspective of an everyday tech dad. Now, back to this lens. So just a disclaimer, again, I'm not a professional photographer. I'm not a professional videographer. So when I test lenses, I don't usually test it in a technical way. So if you're here and you are waiting for reviews about corner sharpness, distortion, chromatic aberration in probably lens flares, you won't get that here. I'm sorry. Yeah, you could check out other reviewers. I'm mainly going to test this lens in the situations that I'm going to use it for. So I'll mainly use this setup for travel. So that's probably vlogging, taking videos of my family when we go to places. And the most important things for me for this lens is number one, autofocus, minimum focusing distance, the size and weight of the lens, also how well controlled the focus breathing is, because usually when I travel, I shoot also B-roll and sometimes I rack focus. So that's one thing that I also test. And of course, I'm going to do a vlogging test in the end, and I'm going to use the 10 to 18, not just on my a6700, but also on my ZV-E10, which is a full frame body. So when it comes to autofocus, I think this lens is great for what I'm going to use it for. Probably me moving while talking to the camera, or like racking focus using the autofocus between two subjects when I shoot some B-roll or some scenes when we travel. And as you can see here, the autofocus seems pretty spot on. For all the tests that I didn't experience any focus hunting when it comes to video autofocus. So the minimum focusing distance of this lens at 10 millimeters is 11 centimeters. Now this allows you to bring your camera setup closer to you when vlogging if you're the type like me who, you know, gets awkward when vlogging in public. I feel like if you stretch your arm very far out, it grabs attention, you know, from other people that, you know, screaming, vlogger, vlogger. So yeah, this is a more discreet way of vlogging, I think. It also lets you get closer to subjects that, you know, probably are small and you want to do macro-like, not really macro, but macro-like types of shots. Or if you want to create more depth of field, then, you know, one technique is going closer. And with this having a short minimum focusing distance, that allows you to get close to your subject, thus separating the subject more from the background. Now the focus breathing in this lens is very well controlled, as you can see in the sample videos right now. It's not perfect, it's not, you know, zero focus breathing, but it's very, very minimal. And for the size and weight, this lens has a dimension of 72.2 by 64 millimeters, and it weighs only 255 grams. That is a very, very small and light lens. And for those of you wondering what type of filters you can slap on this lens has a filter thread of 67 millimeters. So now let's go to the vlogging test, and with that, I am going to hop on outside. All right, so this is a vlogging test of the 10 to 18 millimeters on my a6700. And if you're wondering how am I holding the camera, I'm holding it without a tripod, and it is, you know, I'm holding it on the lens, and this is how far I am holding it. So this is at 10 millimeters with active steady shot enabled. So vlogging test, I think this is a very, very comfortable focal length when vlogging. It's not too wide, because if I stretch out my arms, this is the view that you can see. But yeah, I think this is my preferred way of holding it. You can also bring it closer which, you know, is possible because of the 11 cm minimum focusing distance. Again, let's move it back here. So yeah, that is at 10 millimeters. And I'm going to compare this to the ZV-E10 using the same lens. All right, so now I am at 10 millimeters using the Sigma 10-18 lens, but I'm using my ZV-E10, and as you can see, it is a very much wider field of view. And currently I'm at 10 millimeters, so you can probably see some vignetting right here in this area. So I'm going to put this at 12 millimeters. There. So we are on active steady shot, and we have eliminated most of the vignette. So I am holding it, wait, I'm going to show you. So I am holding it the same way I was holding my a6700, and I'm going to put the two images side by side so you can see the difference when it comes to how wide this is when using the same lens on a crop sensor camera and a full frame camera. Usually you get heavy vignetting when using APS-C lenses on full frame cameras, but for this lens, just, you know, move it 2 millimeters and the crop basically or the vignette rather basically disappears. And if I bring this super duper close to my face, I'm seeing the image right now, doesn't even like feel super close, but in reality it is. And again, this is because of the 11 cm minimum focusing distance. So yeah, if you are really shy about vlogging and you don't want to stretch your arm that far out, then yeah, this is a good combination to have. All right, so now I switch to dynamic active steady shot, and this really, you know, just took out all the vignetting. I'm at 10 millimeters. So as you know, dynamic active steady shot has a bigger crop than active steady shot. And let's see if we see that vignette when I move it, which is the case with some other lenses. Nope. No vignetting on the side, no vignetting on top. Yeah. So this is on dynamic active steady shot, where you get the best stabilization in the newer Sony cameras. So if you're into vlogging, then yeah, get the 10-18 millimeters with a ZV-E10 with dynamic active steady shot, and you get footage like this, very stabilized, very wide. So, you know, for travel vloggers, I think this is a great setup to have. And so that is the vlogging test, and as you can see, on a crop sensor body like the a6700 at 10 millimeters, it's really wide already. You know, it's comfortable enough for vlogging. It's an ultra wide angle view if you want to take photos of landscapes and things like that. But if you want a wider field of view, then using it at 12 millimeters on the ZV-E10 is very much usable with, you know, all of the stabilization modes like the active stabilization, even the dynamic active stabilization. It gets rid of the vignetting, and yeah, for me it's pretty usable in video. Now in photos, I think that's where it's more unusable because of a heavier vignette. Because in video mode, you know, it chops off the top and the bottom parts because of the 16:9 aspect ratio. When it comes to photo, most of us use the maximum 3:2 or even 4:3, which yields a heavier vignette in the corners of the image. But again, you can still use it by cropping, but then if you are using something like the ZV-E10 wherein it's 12 megapixels, then you lose a lot of resolution. But if you use something like the a7 IV or the a7C Mark II wherein you have 33 megapixels, then probably you can crop more than the ZV-E10. And this lens is priced at $599 US and around this much here in the Philippines, which I think makes it a very budget-friendly lens to buy. So there you have it. That is my quick review or run through of this lens, why I bought the 10-18. And I hope you got something out of this video. Please, if you have questions, more questions, or if you want me to test more things about this lens, please do comment down below. And if you want to check out more videos about camera gear, audio equipment, and desk setups, please do check my other videos here.